and about the net.
Without even leaving my house.
Isn't it good?
Ain't it magic?
I was at Heather Frank's house. We did a little first run of our podcast idea, and I have all my podcast equipment, and I'm, unpacking everything. And then I was like, hold on. Why do I only have one XLR cable? Where'd the rest of them go? They're all sitting here next to me, all 7 of them. So we had to take apart one of her boyfriend's turntables. Thankfully, there was another XLR in the building, so it was all good. But, kind of like those calendar invites. Gotta double check them.
There's never enough XLR cables and/or adapters around, for my taste.
Never enough.
I'll say. Well, usually I'm swimming in them, but then I forget to pack them when I really need them the most. What would Elon Musk do?
What must he do?
What must he do?
Would bore into the Earth's core and find his own XLR.
We have the same thing where I put an email in mailbag, Sarah.
I know.
You did not.
And the reason is because I did not see an email.
So go ahead and move that one into line 40.
Got it.
That way I know you saw it. And
Yep.
it's all good. All right, cool. Awesome.
Bore into the earth and discover it's hollow.
Oleg was he was featured last week.
That's right. He's the new star of our community.
Hey, keep emailing. You'll keep getting featured. Oh, pardon me.
You're pardoned.
Thank you.
I am the president. I pardoned you.
I know this is weird and we don't have time to get into it, so I'll just go ahead and put it out here and we can get back into it in the post show. Barbara Bush was a real nice lady.
Mm-hmm.
I liked her.
Yeah.
Me too.
I've been kind of watching some videos, today, and it's like, I don't even want to get political about it.
No.
They were very in love. I thought she seemed like a real nice gal.
Yeah. Of all the Bush, she's my favorite of the Bush family.
Yeah.
I like her. She's the best Bush.
Best
she
Bush.
never beat around the bush. She was very direct.
Yeah.
No, I liked her too.
Yeah. I know.
Even in my Marxist youth, I liked Barbara Bush.
Yeah. 92. That's up there.
Ain't bad. Ain't bad.
Not at
I
all.
hope I get halfway there. Wait,
Hey.
I am halfway there. Never mind.
Right.
I hope I go way past halfway there.
You're
Three
over
quarters?
the hill,
Three
Tom.
quarters.
You're way over the Barbara Bush hill.
Thank you, Ethan Kane. Show notes are ready. All right, then let's do a show that will follow those notes. Are you guys ready?
Ready.
Here we go.
The Daily Tech News Show is powered by its listeners, not outside organizations. If you get value from the show, consider giving a little back. As little as $1 a month keeps great tech news and analysis coming your way commercial-free. Find out more at dailytechnewsshow.com/support.
This is the Daily Tech News for Wednesday, April 18th, 2018. From DTNS headquarters in Los Angeles, I'm Tom Merritt.
And from Studio Feline, I'm Sarah Lane.
From Salt Lake City, I'm Slow, and I'm Scott Johnson.
Slow Lake City, they call it these days. I tell you who's lightning fast, though. It's our producer, Roger Chang.
Yes, fast like lightning.
Mm-hmm. They call him
Congested
Roger
sentences.
Lightning.
Lightning Roger.
They sure do. All right, we got some tech news for you. Some stuff you may have heard about, but you're like, help me understand that. Some other stuff you're like, I didn't even know about that at all. Let's start with a few tech things you should know.
Facebook is introducing new privacy controls in order to comply with HDPR that will allow users their privacy settings with the option to click accept and continue or manage data settings. So users in the European Union will see the permission screens this week, with other regions worldwide to follow. In addition, users in the EU and also Canada will be given an option to opt into facial recognition in accordance with those regions' laws.
Best Buy will begin selling Toshiba and its own Insignia brand televisions with, you guessed it, Fire TV built in. Starting this summer, TVs will come in 4K and HD versions. I assume that means 1080p. Best Buy will partner exclusively with Amazon to sell these models.
Coming this summer. Televisions. Android has released a browser called Internet for Android. When I say Android, I mean to say Amazon. Amazon has released a browser called Internet for Android 5.0 or newer users. It's only available in the India Google Play Store. The app is small, so it's meant to be light on your storage, 2 megabytes, less than 2 megabytes. Supports private tabs and promises not to collect your private data.
It would be cool if Android had a browser called Internet for Android.
That'd be like Windows.
Thought it was called Internet, and they thought they were getting the entire Internet when they got this browser. That's what I'd like.
You are. That's what a browser is.
Yeah, Scott.
Good point.
That's the on-ramp to the Internet information superhighway.
Wow.
Wikipedia launched a feature that lets you preview a page just by hovering over a link without having to click through and read information. So this lets users explore related topics without having to leave the main topics page. I actually love this feature on TechMeme when it relates to tweets.
I will use this on Wikipedia all the time, especially for Current Geek, when we do the Current Geek Film Fest and Autopilot episodes, because I'm always opening things in tabs so I don't have to close the main one. It's going to be great.
I'm not a guy much for big rules being applied to everything, but I'd like this to be on every website I read, to be honest.
Yeah. All right, let's talk a little bit more about browsers. What's going on, Scott?
Oh my gosh, you guys, glory be. The latest version of Google Chrome now automatically mutes autoplay videos unless you choose to enable sound. I know, we're all applauding. This is great news. Sound will not be muted if the user selects the site. I know a lot of people are already using plugins that do similar functionality. We realize that, but having it native is kind of cool. Anyway, if it's a site that frequently pays videos on that site or has the site on the home screen, settings can now include an option to always block autoplay videos from particular sites or domains. I did a little more digging because in my mind, when you go to YouTube, if you go to somebody's YouTube channel, there is an autoplay video there. And the question is, does that count? And it seems like it's spotty. Like sometimes it does mute the homepage of somebody's account, and then other times that autoplays. But it seems like a site like that, you're going there to get video and you would like it to play as soon as possible. So it's probably a terrible example. But, you know, sites, especially news sites that want to just shove video right in your face as soon as you open that tab.
Let me tell you, CNET and Fortune, love you both dearly. Great news. Stop autoplaying.
The NBC, Bloomberg, the list goes on. It's a real thing. And
for some reason,
this might be something that bugs us more than the average person because I have 400 tabs open currently because I'm, reading news stuff all day, but it is offensive.
Yeah.
It is truly offensive.
It's also going to be good for podcaster types like us because there are times when I'm capturing entire audio outputs for shows and I'm having a important conversation with somebody and I'm looking at a link because I need to for the conversation and for questions relating to it, and then suddenly something plays and I'm not even sure where that video is on the page. This is going to be a real boon for me. And using plugins was sort of working and sort of not working for me. So again, direct integration is where I'm going to find my happy place, I think.
And that's what the world has been crying for. Why don't you do something for the podcasters, Google Chrome?
I know, we're always first on the list, right?
No, it's in all seriousness, I agree. I think this is I think it's going to be good for more than just podcasters. I think this is something a lot of people are going to use. And I like the way it's implemented where it's trying to say like, okay, you seem to like to play videos on that site. So we're not going to auto mute those because that would be annoying because you don't want to have to click. But here we're going to try to do it. And that's why YouTube's probably such a mess because it's having a hard time predicting which channel pages you want and which ones you don't. And giving you the option to say, you know what, if you just don't want YouTube to ever autoplay here, you can block that particular site or domain. Microsoft announced it's running a limited preview program for Windows Hello FIDO2 security key support. We told you about WebAuthn earlier this week. FIDO2 and WebAuthn are a standard that can securely log you in without the need for a password. Yubico introduced a security key built to work with FIDO2 and WebAuthn earlier this week, which will be part of the Windows preview. Windows Hello will support other FIDO2 security keys as well.
So we talked about this on TMS this morning. Fascinating, right? Like this idea that we may be facing a future with 0 passwords. My favorite bit of anecdotal conversation about that was what this does to movie plots that have a lot to do with cracking passwords and getting past them.
Sure.
That changes things a little bit, you know?
Right. Mr. Robot season 4 gonna be so weird.
Yeah.
Well, and if people don't understand, the way this works is actually very well explained in this week's NosillaCast with Allison Sheridan and Bart Buchotz. But the way it works is the browser handles it. So you can either use a key. That's going to be the first thing that Windows Hello is going to work with. And that's one of those little keys where you plug it into USB or it can work with NFC and you just click it every time you want it. Or you could use it with Windows Hello face recognition, or you could use it with fingerprint recognition. And it's up to the site to decide, okay, we're gonna play with this. The browsers do all the implementation though, and it doesn't matter what kind of authentication is being done on the other end as long as it's FIDO standard. So Face ID could be this. All the Windows Hello stuff is now going to be part of this, meaning that the site can say, we just want the browser to tell us you're authenticated, and the browser will say, we'll accept these kinds of authentication, and then you don't have to know a password. You might not need to know a PIN just to prove you're there and you didn't steal the key. But you don't need to have a long, complex password. This is the great hope here, is to get rid of passwords.
What would be your, if I could poll the group, your preferred way to authenticate using this new standard when you have options like fingerprints or a USB key or, so on and so forth?
I want it to be, I want it to be the more convenient, the better. So if it's facial recognition or something quick, something fast, and something uniformly sort of available across whatever platforms I'm accessing, that would be my preference. That doesn't really answer your question though, because there are a lot of options that span those things. So if I'm going to pick one out of a hat, I'd say 5 years from now, let's say facial recognition is where I'd want to be. Look at my face.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I would want it to be some kind of biometric plus PIN, or maybe just biometric. I don't know. You need 2 factors: something you know, something you have. So I don't think you can get rid of typing in something for initial. But
I want an electrode that I can hold in my urine stream. There, that's it. That's what
I mean, Face ID with the YubiKey would totally be it. But I don't want to lose the key, right? that's the key to the whole thing.
That's the thing. Like anything physical, it's just gonna go somewhere.
Yeah.
I hate that idea, but it's also more secure. Elon Musk might have an answer for this. He has an answer for everything else, and he actually has some advice for the rest of us. Walk out of meetings, everybody. Sidestep the chain of command. Ignore company rules on occasion. This is Musk's response to work that has temporarily halted at Tesla plants in California for upgrades aimed at increasing output from 2,000 to 6,000 cars per week by the end of June. They've gotten a lot of flack for not producing as many cars as they said they would be able to do. The leaked email, which was published by a website called Electric, shows Musk going in on the performance of Tesla's contractors, which he says in some cases have been, quote, worse than a drunken sloth.
Oh.
He said that. Musk also said that bad meetings are the blight of big companies, and it's not rude to leave. It's rude to make someone stay and waste their time. Related to this, California's Division of Occupational Safety and Health said that it has opened a new investigation into Tesla following a report about worker protections at Tesla's auto plant in Fremont, California. It's its main auto plant.
So
maybe the honeymoon might be slightly over for everybody's favorite gem in the rough, Tesla. But I have to at least say this so I can have full disclosure here. 100% with him on the meetings thing. I hate it. They go too long. They waste a lot of people's time. Sometimes you're just having them to have them. So I'm all about eliminating those.
Oh, sure. No. Yeah. Every boss can just write a memo that says, hey, guys, break all the rules and leave meetings. And then what happens when you do that? Oh, wait, but you told me to break the rules, and now we have OSHA investigating us, and you say that I've gotten the company in horrible trouble, but you said just go around the rules if they don't make sense, and they didn't make sense to me. Like,
I didn't like that meeting. I hated that meeting. 9 a.m. on a Monday. I'm not going to that thing anymore.
Easier said than done.
Know what my company's doing anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think if you have a regular, no matter what kind of company you are, you have a regular evaluation of what kind of meetings you're having, especially mandatory ones, and figure out ways to just sort of chip away at them so that you're not wasting a bunch of time, effort, and money. That's all I'm saying. Don't stop having meetings. You should still have those. We have them occasionally. Tom will like sit at the end of a table and have a little virtual meeting with us for good reasons. Like, that stuff's great, but he's not having one every day just so he can read the minutes from the last meeting and ask anyone if they have any questions. Like, that can get real bad in company cultures. And I agree with him on that one tiny pinpoint. The rest of this stuff, maybe a little too loose and free.
Well, and I'm not disagreeing with you that the meetings are overdone, especially at big companies. I've been there, man. Like, all the companies I've worked with have had pretty much mostly worthless meetings. But you don't fix it by sending a memo saying, if it's not working, just walk out. Like, I feel like that's a mark of desperation. It's like, we just need people to do the right things. And I guess if he feels confident that he's hired mostly the right people, because he says, look, if you can't deal with this kind of company culture, get out. Maybe it will work for him. I don't know, but it sounds like something that is great on paper, but might cause unseen side effects or unexpected side effects in practice.
Yeah, it's a little sort of like, let's go rogue, no more meetings. But it's like, okay, well, how does the company make more cars?
Right.
Didn't really get the second part of that yet.
Yeah, and follow safety standards and doesn't screw up stuff and, like all that. Absolutely, that stuff. He can't be all maverick about that stuff, no question. But less meetings, big thumbs up for me.
Fewer.
Sorry. Iran banned all state bodies. That's right, state bodies from using Telegram Wednesday. Iran is also shutting down the Telegram account of its supreme leader. State media reports were this: safeguarding national interests is the quote, and removing the monopoly of the Telegram messaging app, unquote. A court ruled this week that Telegram must receive permission to operate in Iran and agree to store user data in the country. No more Telegram. I was actually very curious about this, and I tweeted just a bit before the show to some of my followers about whether or not they had tried Telegram. That's a service we can have here if we want. Apparently, this is much more popular in that neck of the woods. And if you are a quote-unquote state body, you better get out of Telegram now while it getting's good.
If you're a state body in Iran, I bet you already knew that.
Yeah.
I bet you knew this was coming. I think what's interesting about this is Iran and Russia have been sort of moving closer together. And of course, we talked previously this week about Russia cracking down on Telegram, ordering ISPs to block it for not handing over encryption keys, which Telegram says we don't hold the encryption keys for our users, kind of like WhatsApp. So we can't give you what we don't have. Telegram saying that the ban is ineffective, that it's not seeing user drop off. Who knows if that's true? This is less of a ban than what Russia is doing. What Iran's doing is saying our government is not going to use Telegram anymore. And it does seem to be about data storage. It seems to be they're wanting to push Telegram into agreeing to these stipulations that the justice laid out earlier this week. Asus announced a Radeon exclusive AREZ line of graphics cards. That's spelled AREZ. None of these carry Asus's Republic of Gaming brand, which is usually used for its top-line gaming hardware, ROG. PC World notes that Hard OCP's Kyle Bennett previously reported that NVIDIA had been pushing vendors to use its GeForce hardware exclusively in top-line brands, which may explain the new brand name for AMD-related hardware from Asus. AMD says you can expect more of this. They say our brands are going to feature Radeon, and AMD said it, quote, is continuing to push the industry openly, transparently, and without restrictions. Wink, wink. Not using the word NVIDIA or GeForce. But yeah, Scott, it seems like GeForce may have been trying to get manufacturers to go exclusive in top-line brands, and AMD responded by saying, great, just make another brand and we'll put Radeon in it and promote it.
Yeah. I mean, as one of the licensed to talk on this show gamers you have on DTNS, I'm happy that this news popped today because it's interesting. There have been things in the history of both of these companies where they've tried to sort of lock down exclusivity. Sometimes it's on a title by title basis. Most of that usually turns into a logo at the beginning of a game when it launches on a PC that says plays best with GeForce or plays better with AMD or something like that. And they might have one or two visual options that you can flick on or off depending on which card you have. that plays to the strengths of those cards. There was a big deal about hair physics a couple of years ago with NVIDIA. And so that was a thing you get exclusively with like Tomb Raider or something. All of that being said, those were more just money across the, not under the table, but across the table that said, look, we're going to have your name smeared all over this thing. That's a good thing. What they're talking about is hardware vendors, people like Falcon Northwest and, big PC gamer focused manufacturers going exclusively with one side or the other. And as much as gamers we don't want this. We don't want them to be exclusive. I may prefer NVIDIA at the moment, but I may prefer AMD a couple of years down the road. That's kind of how this goes. It's good to have those two competing. So locking down exclusive hardware rights kind of rubs us all wrong. But I also think this fight is good for this particular part of the industry and is actually a bit of an injection of excitement into the video game or the video card war that it has been so sidelined by cryptocurrency and having all these cards being bought up by all of that stuff. So yeah, we don't like the sound of it. And yeah, they're both kind of fighting in kind of a, backyard kind of way. But in the end, these are the two big names in video cards and GPUs. And having them do that is probably good for us in the long run. They're going to fight it out and we're all going to have more choice. So I would rather have that than just one of them be dominant as it has been in previous years.
Well, and it is a marketing battle, right? Because what NVIDIA, it sounds like what Bennett has been reporting is that NVIDIA says, hey, we know that gamers just buy, let's say, Republic of Gamers brand, Asus, just use NVIDIA for that. Go with us, thinking, right? Tell me if this is right, thinking that, well, the lion's share of the market will buy ROG no matter what's inside, and if we get them to only put NVIDIA inside, then boom, we're selling more NVIDIA. And what AMD is saying is, no, gamers pay a little more attention to that, so screw you, NVIDIA. We'll just get Asus to create a new brand, and we'll put AMD in there. And yeah, it might be a little more confusing for people, but if they're looking for AMD or NVIDIA, they'll see on the box, oh, this is the one that has AMD, and this is the one that has NVIDIA. And the only thing that'll be confusing is they'll be like, well, why is that one called ROG, but this one's now called ARES? Oh, well.
Yeah, no, we'll all be confused about the weird insider marketing stuff, but you just said the words. Gamers are smart, they get it. So they're not dumb enough to not understand which card is where.
Yeah.
Start putting fake names on them and not telling us what cards are in them. Well, that's a different animal, but as it stands right now, we know what we want, we know when we want it, and we know how to get it, and we know where to go. So if you're going to make a couple of brands, fine, whatever, have your little fight. We're still going to go with the brands that we trust and like the most. So I say spend more time winning us over on features and maybe less time on marketing ideas.
Speaking of things that people like, how about this one? The soundtrack for the first-person shooter game Doom is hitting vinyl. Yes, vinyl records this summer. Includes a limited edition 4-disc version, which was recorded at Abbey Road Studios, so there's some pedigree there. Has a pressed-on red 180-gram wax that includes a Doom turntable slip mat. I don't know what that means, but I bet Turntable people do. All formats are currently pre-order only and will ship in the third quarter of 2018. Doom's soundtrack, which was composed by Mick Gordon, was the 2016 winner for Best Music and Sound Design at the Video Game Awards and was a BAFTA Games nominee for Best Music and Audio Achievement.
The slip mat's just the thing you put down on the platter so that when you put your record on, it doesn't slip around.
But what?
Well, here's the deal. Actually, Roger, I got a question for you. So I'm excited about this as a longtime Doom fan. There's all sorts of nostalgia tied to this. Plus, the new Doom game is great, and the music on there is real good. One of the high points of the game. You don't understand why anybody wants this on vinyl. You were saying pre-show.
Yes. No, I mean, I understand from the emotional context, but realistically, having been brought up through LPs, because my dad used to be signed up for the Reader's Digest LP of the month. Like they would just send you box sets of LPs. So I've dealt with a lot of, I got to flip to the other side. I've dealt with 8-tracks. I've dealt with cassettes. When CDs came, it was glorious. I could skip ahead. I could go backwards. I could do whatever I wanted. It was so convenient. And for me, vinyl represents a nice nostalgic, if somewhat rose-tinted view of previous technologies. But I also remember you got cheated out of a few songs on an LP versus the CD version, right? You like only on cassette and CD, because there's always those two bonus tracks you would never get because it wouldn't fit on an LP unless they issued out like a limited 2 LP set.
Sure.
So it's just, to me, it's weird. The music was probably generated digitally, recorded digitally. So let's just put it back on a wax cylinder that just happens to be flat.
Yes, because you get bigger album art and you get a thing and you still get the digital copies. You still get the MP3s. So it's the best of both worlds. I get a beautiful object. I get the warm
thing.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
As a guy who collected comic books for the better part of 25 years, I have roughly 300 pounds worth of comic books that I need to unload.
What does that have to do with this at all?
To me, it's just there's a lot of things.
Are you just trying to use this segment to sell your comic book collection?
Okay, Roger.
Actually, that's a really good idea. If you guys out there really want any of the 90s Marvel, back when Todd McFarlane used to do Spider-Man and a bunch,
CDs are better. And another thing, a lot of comic books on sale now.
Hey, by the way, I don't know if you caught this, folks, but it's not just the LPs. There's 3 different versions of the LPs you can get for Doom. They're also selling a deluxe double CD with a premium triple gatefold sleeve. So, Roger, you can get the best of both worlds, the physical object and your favorite format.
Yeah, you guys laughed at me earlier about, a slip mat, which is like, I don't know if it fits. Why would you need that? But what is red 180-gram wax?
Well, 180-gram wax, we don't have time to go into.
It's just good wax.
It's just real good wax. Yeah. And red just means that
look, as somebody who's got
the vinyl's red.
I have kids. Cool. They're at the age where they're making big music buying decisions. Here's what they're into now. My daughter has a Spotify account and only buys physical music on vinyl. Straight up, that's it. She bought a record player for this. It even has a way to output to MP3s if you want to convert them, but it's always records if she's doing it because it's going to be a special occasion type thing.
So cool.
Yeah, she doesn't care about Doom, but she would totally do this for Vampire Weekend re-releases or even new albums or whatever. Like, that's totally her bag. So I think cassettes are next. And then one day, Roger, there will be a generation, probably your daughters, who don't give a crap anymore.
It's like, why? You know what? I could go back and buy a 1920 clothes washer and spend 5 hours lining up my linen so it goes straight through.
That is not at all the same thing.
Yeah, no, it's not straight through. There's just a lot of physicality required to listen. You know what? Just hit my phone, hit the play button, and it's done.
Right, and then look at the beautiful album art on your and feel the heft of your 180-gram vinyl.
The fact that it's less convenient is part of the charm. That's what Roger doesn't get. Some people like that.
Yeah, it is part of the charm. And here's the other thing. Look at rogerslist.com for the comic book collection of a lifetime. That's coming soon.
Also, I don't know if you caught it, but Scott said cassettes were next, and he wasn't being flippant. Your kids are into cassettes, too.
Oh, yeah. No, it's weird. Crazy. My daughter found all my old cassettes and my sports Walkman. We talked about this briefly, like I think even post-show or something last week, but she broke that thing out. She's been moving stuff from there to digital, so she's got archives of it. But then she started walking around the house, listening to it while she vacuumed, took it with her to school. Like, they see these relics of our childhood and our teen years as something special and unique. And I don't think that lasts for the next generation. I think it's kind of a every other sort of thing. But whether, if you thought cassettes were dumb and we're glad they went away with all their mechanics and spinning wheels and everything, I got bad news for you. I think they're about to make a weird comeback.
It's not the spinning wheels that bothered me. It was just the low fidelity. It didn't matter.
I'm pulling out my 78 collection and inviting Roger over.
Oh, yeah, the low fidelity of cassettes. MP3s really changed all that, didn't they, Roger?
How am I the old curmudgeon-y one when I don't want to deal with old curmudgeon-y technology? I don't get it.
Interesting, isn't it? All right, thanks to everybody who participates in our subreddit. You can submit stories and vote on them at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com and in our Facebook group. There was a person today, I think in our Discord, who was saying, I didn't know you had a Facebook group. We say it every day. Facebook.com/groups/dailytechnewsshow. Also, we have a Discord, which we don't say every day. Go to patreon.com/DTNS to figure that out. Let's move on to the thing of the day.
If you can't sleep on airplanes, then you and I have something in common. But Chris Christensen has a news of a potential solution, even for people in coach.
This is Chris Christensen from Amateur Traveler with another Tech in Travel Minute. One of the major aircraft manufacturers in the world is Airbus, the European conglomerate. And they announced an interesting investigation this week, which is to take the cargo deck of the A330 wide-body jets that have already been used for crew rest areas and to make that available as sleeping compartments for people in coach. You would have to pay for a bed down there by the hour. And I'd have to say their mock-ups look roomy and quite inviting if you don't mind sleeping in what looks like a capsule hotel. So I think it's a great idea, although this is one that I'm actually going to bet against. And the reason for that is because it does look spacious. For this to happen, you'd have to find that this is more cost-effective than cargo in the cargo space. So I think probably the economics aren't going to work, but if it does work, sign me up for a coach bed down in the cargo compartment. I'm Chris Christensen from Amateur Traveler.
Yeah, well, except that that's how pets die.
What, now hold on. This is a specially formatted cargo area so that you
with
have
the right
proper
pressure,
pressurization and everything.
right.
What happened with the pets was they were put in a place that wasn't properly pressurized. So.
Yeah.
There is a great movie to be made about somebody who buys one of these, is down there alone, something terrible happens up top. Figure out a way to survive and land that plane. I
mean,
wait.
From bed.
All kidding aside, I don't have a problem not flying first class. But if I have to sleep, I'm just not going to do it in coach. Can't do it.
I just wonder
if I can lay down, I would try.
I just wonder how this is going to work by the hour. If you're like, I can only afford an hour. They wake you up. Sorry, can't sleep there anymore.
Get out of here. Yeah. What if you're like, no, I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
Holding on.
All right. Before we get out of here, let's check the mailbag. What do we got?
Oleg wrote again and said, he sent us a very nice note. This is from our Patreon messages, actually. Hey, DTNS crew, I started listening to the show about a month ago. Just a few podcasts here and there during the commute. Now I'm a daily listener. Personally, I hate going through a lot of media websites to get less biased overview of the news in the tech world. You make it in a half an hour format. How about that? Also, thanks for reviewing the recent Telegram madness. Oleg is based in Russia, we think anyway. Politics aside, Russia is an interesting example of a state media versus freedom of the media conflict. Cheers.
Thank you, Oleg. Молодец. Спасибо. We don't actually know if he's Russian or even in Russia, but there you go.
Well, I think if he's the same Oleg as before, I think he does live there. But
there
can't be sure.
Be more than one, but who knows? It would be a coincidence.
Thank you, Oleg, and also thanks to Scott Johnson, as always, for joining us on Wednesday. Scott, what is new with you?
Well, I launched that Kickstarter I teased last week. It already funded in about 3 hours, which I did not expect. However, that's good news because a whole bunch of cool unlocks are coming. The link you want to go to, actually, you can just go to frogpants.com. It's the first thing you're going to see. It's my brand new Kickstarter for playing cards. I made my own stuff, queens, kings, jacks, all this stuff. Ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to do it. And it's now up on Kickstarter, and there's some cool unlocks. We've already got poker chips coming and zombie deck alternatives coming, and a bunch of other cool stuff. So if you're into that sort of thing, frogpants.com/cards will get you there, or you can just search for it on Kickstarter. And thank you to a lot of people in your audience who also check out my stuff, who were willing to belly up over there. I really, really appreciate it. Again, frogpants.com, and follow me on Twitter @ScottJohnson.
We got a lot of great suggestions on what we should do if we hit our monthly goal of getting one more patron than last month. We need 5 more people to hit that goal, and then I'll sing the Lumberjack song, or I don't know. That was one suggestion. Or I promise not to sing. That might be a better suggestion. Anyway, we're still taking suggestions, and we still want to hit that goal. So if you can support us, if you can afford spare $1 a month, please do at patreon.com/DTNS.
Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. We'd love to hear from you. Let us know what you are thinking. Everything that's on your mind. Most of it, anyway. We're also live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 20:30 UTC, and you can find out more at dailytechnewsshow.com/live.
Back tomorrow with Justin Robert Young. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
I seem to have recorded the entire show today.
Yay.
All sides of the
Progress.
conversation.
Oh, you haven't recorded the post show yet.
Oh, no, we're still recording that.
I I
not cursive.
I recorded just in case. Didn't tell you.
Oh, thank you. That's a good idea. Yeah. Also, the Discord people were happy that I mentioned the Discord.
Oh,
Yay.
the Discord people.
The disco people.
Discord duck.
All right. See.
What are we going to call this, Roger?
Disco duck.
Is it make an offer for Roger's long boxes?
I got like 8 long boxes and 8 short boxes. Buy Rogers Comics.
That is on there.
Rogers Comic Books. Yeah, Rogers the Nerd Comic Books. Dealing with old curmudgeon tech. Is Vinyl Doom doomed? Elon Musk eliminates boring meetings. I had to throw that in there because that boring.
Get it?
Because the
got it.
company.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's almost like no one made that joke during the show.
It's
It's
never.
almost
How do we
too
miss
fun.
that?
It's too clever.
We were
It's
too busy
almost
fighting
impossible
about
to make a boring company joke anyway, because them naming it the boring company is already the joke. You know.
Oh, I like Turntable of Doom.
Turntable of
that's
Doom is good. That's good. Different kind of Doom. Are you guys familiar with the Doom Indian Bollywood series?
No.
Movies, not video games.
Yeah,
movies.
yeah. Tell me more.
Oh, Doom, DHOOM.
Oh
Okay.
no, I've seen that.
Oh, they're
I haven't
good.
seen the movie. I've just seen the posters and a bunch of other stuff for it.
Well,
Who's
to
in
be
it?
fair, I've only seen Doom and Doom 2. Rashwaya Aryai, she's like the most beautiful woman in the world, is definitely in the second one.
Okay.
Which I had the pleasure of seeing while I was in India. It was a big deal. I mean, that movie was a really big deal at the time.
Uday
It's like-
Chopra and Abhishek Bachchan.
yeah.
Alright.
He's the Big B's son. If you know Big
Uh-huh.
B, he's
Okay.
just a huge, very, very, very big celebrity over there. Watch those movies. Take it from me. And then come on back and tell me what you thought. And they're like kind of in Hindi, but kind of in English. So you don't really miss anything.
Okay.
So it's in English.
Well, yeah.
Oh
Or
wait, I've seen the
indie.
first one. I've seen this one with the motorbikes.
That might be Doom 2.
I think it was back. Was
A
it
lot of slow-mo.
There's-
was either on
Okay,
Netflix.
but are the soundtracks available on vinyl?
I don't know. But the soundtracks are really good.
Are they? Well, of course they are.
But they're, I mean, it's
yeah.
again a completely different thing.
Wait, Doom 3 stars takes place in Chicago. Wow,
Oh,
that's a big jump for the franchise.
yeah.
Well, that's like Tokyo Drift. Took
Yeah,
Fast and Furious across the ocean too.
he has a bowler hat.
Tom
That's
says-
how you know it's.
Making a Fast and Furious reference, even though he's only seen the first movie ever.
I've seen 4 of them. But yeah, like
just-
Turntable
it's-
of Doom. I like that as a title.
Turntable of Doom. That's a good one.
Turntable of Doom it is.
Love it.
Motion carried. So are you saying we should do Doom for our Current Geek Film Festival, Sarah?
I really am. I'm not saying you're gonna like it because I
Or
don't
should we
know.
or should Scott do it for Film Sack?
yeah,
Is that
maybe
in?
film sack, because if that thing's not anywhere near the top 100, I'm not sure it'll work in Current Geek.
Well, there's no Bollywood movies in the top 100, which I think is a shame because there are Bollywood movies that certainly should be.
Oh yeah. Well, financially even alone, there's some that have made more money than stuff we always
But
tout.
even critically, I think they're just classified separately. They don't get thought of by the AFI or any of those places.
I mean, if I'm honest, I don't think I've seen an entire Indian film from beginning to end.
my
I've seen a bunch
gosh.
of chunks of them. I've seen that weird-
Kind of. I mean, it's too early in the Current Geek Film Fest to do it, but I kind of want to take a break from the list and do a Bollywood
We
movie.
could totally do that. Maybe this is it, because if it's in English or Hindi,
Almost all of them are, though.
Englandy,
They all have subtitles too.
Yeah.
But
That's
like
just normal.
they're speaking English part of, it's you're not messing the plot is not like, ooh,
Plot is
what's happening
usually
here.
pretty straightforward.
It's it's action. It's an action series. But it's really good. And I really want to know what you guys think. Doom 3 though, I can't speak to that. Chicago, that's a whole other thing.
I love that they have enough Doom movies to equal just about the total number of Doom games.
Well, every time there's a Doom story, I'm like, Doom, my favorite movie. Oh yeah, no.
Oh wait, no.
Doom. Never mind.
I think that's funny.
I like this idea though. That it's now kicking around my head. Like, okay, there's some Japanese films in our top list. Not a lot though. There's a couple.
Which ones are?
Hold on, I'll have to look. I think Rashomon probably.
Oh, so they're the older ones.
Well, I mentioned one. That's one data point. I don't think you can generalize.
Spirited Away, maybe?
Seven Samurai is actually number 24. That's the highest ranked foreign film. But I don't think there's any French movies on here. I don't think there might be some Italian movies like Bicycle Thief or something. But maybe like once a year, Scott, we should take a break and do an international.
I'd be fine with that. Subtitles are
fun.
I'd be cool with that.
Yeah. Yeah, Bicycle Thieves is number 55.
I'll bet that one about what's his name he was in World War II, was in prison, but it's kind of a comedy. He won an Oscar. Roberto
Fellini.
Yeah.
Benigni.
But however many years ago that was, I forget.
Life is Beautiful.
Yeah, that'd be cool to do that one. I'll bet that's in the top 100.
There's a lot of German films in here, but they're all from the 20s.
A wonderful movie.
Yeah, it is good. I love that movie.
So
There's
good.
La Grande Illusion. That's from 38, though.
There was it's not a top 100 list, but it was a really great Japanese movie. It was on Netflix a while back, like last year or a couple of years ago, and it was a very interesting story. It was contemporary, but basically a very successful businessman who's having marital issues with his wife because of their son isn't developing the way that he wants. And he finds out that his son was literally swapped at birth in the hospital. And his actual birth son, is living with a working class family with a guy who is less uptight, I guess, about life. Like he's super relaxed. He's like a backyard electrical engineer. He makes toys and stuff. And it was really fascinating because it was done in a perspective that wasn't what you would think of as a Japanese movie. There's also a Chinese one that featured what was his name?
Scott, we should do Korean soap operas for autopilot too.
I would also do that. My brother and his wife like those, so they would actually.
Maybe they can give you a recommendation.
Yeah, they probably could.
I had speaking of South Korea, because I always think of you and Eileen, because I know that Eileen is kind of into a lot of the makeup culture and that whole thing. And you've been there. I have not. And I had like a weird dream the other night that my mom and I were in Seoul, and I kept saying how do we get a hold of Tom? And find out where the cool restaurants are to go to, because we don't know where we are. We didn't do any research. When I woke up, I was pretty sure that's not what Seoul is actually like at all. Uh-huh. It was just a very weird version of it. But yeah, during that time, I was like, no one will know, but I've got to get a hold of Tom so we can find out where to eat.
Yeah, you want to go to this bar called Texas. It's great.
Oh, great. Yeah.
No, that's funny. Yeah, because we had a Google employee who worked because Eileen was still at Google at the time. That kind of gave us some tips on places to eat, and so we had an inside source. On
yeah, Seoul is what's the population?
Oh, it's one of the fifth largest, top 5 largest cities in the world.
Crazy big.
Yeah, it's ridiculously big.
Yeah,
I think it might be the 3rd largest city in the world. Wow. Or is it the 2nd?
Behind Mexico City?
Well, it's Beijing, Tokyo, Mexico City.
I think Mexico City per capita is supposed to be the biggest one, but I'm not sure.
Per capita is population though, so I don't.
Well,
so has It's roughly 2 million more people than New York, but 75 square miles smaller.
Oh, okay.
Or when you say per capita, you mean density?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would make sense. All right,
9.8
so
people live in Seoul.
Chongqing, Shanghai, Delhi, Beijing, Mumbai, Lagos, Chengdu, Karachi, Guangzhou, Istanbul, Tokyo, Tianjin, Moscow, Dhaka, Sao Paulo, Lahore, Cairo, then Seoul. Wow.
Oh.
Now this is by city proper, not metro area. I think when you go metro area, it becomes a different. Then it's Chongqing, Delhi, Dhaka, Bengaluru, Chennai, Shenzhen, Suzhou, Dongguan, Ho Chi Minh City. Wow. That's crazy. Oh, no, that's backwards.
Into Dongguan and
Okay. Guangzhou, Tokyo, Nanjing, Jakarta, Beijing, Shanghai, Karachi, Mumbai, Sao Paulo, New York City, Mexico City, Osaka, Cairo, Moscow. I thought Seoul was way higher than that. Huh.
if they're not now.
Well, everyone, we've got a lot of densely populated cities to visit. I've only visited like a couple of those. Very few of them.
Been to 2 of those he mentioned.
Okay, urban area. This is the big number.
Okay.
Tokyo, Sao Paulo, Jakarta, Seoul, Manila, New York City, Shanghai, Mumbai, Cairo, Delhi, Mexico City.
Got it. All right.
I would eat at a place called the Cairo Deli, by the way. I totally would.
I've eaten at a restaurant that had Cairo in the name, but I don't remember the rest of it.
Doesn't that sound good, though? The Cairo Deli? Oh,
What do you get there?
I don't know. Like
Egyptian pastrami?
a pyramid of pastrami.
Everything's just shaped like ancient Egyptian monuments. But
Yeah.
it's all Jewish deli food.
Anything with sauerkraut, they say the sauerkraut here Sphinx. Instead of
Oh my God.
That's not even
That's really bad.
really bad. So bad it was like I couldn't help myself.
You have to solve a riddle to order.
Some friends of mine just named, well, he's not a newborn anymore, but they named their son Cairo, which I was like, that's a cool name. They're not Egyptian. Neither
How's
of
it
them are.
spelled? Is it spelled like the city?
No, it isn't. It has creative spelling, but it's
That's fine.
but it's after the, said the same way.
I love that name.
Yeah, I thought so. I was like, oh, that's a pretty cool name.
Cairo has for me anyway, has just a lot of cool, like historical, rad feeling to it. Like Indiana Jones about to show up,
right.
find out where he's supposed to go next kind of vibe to it.
Shoot you.
Yeah, and shoot you. You know what? It's impossible for me to be reminded about that scene where he shoots that guy with the sword without reminding myself that was an improv scene, and he did it because he was tired and sick because he had diarrhea the whole shoot. So,
All right,
Is this something that Harrison Ford told us happened?
yes,
Like it's like
part of some commentary.
Nick,
It was never Spielberg, but somebody, one of those two said he was so sick that week and so dehydrated.
he was just like, I'm not even sword
Just
fighting this dude.
so Nick with the C in the chat room sent us posted this Instagram link to Cairo Deli,
Oh, nice.
the deli, coffee shop, restaurant, catering, fresh sandwiches, salad. It's in Cairo.
No way.
Yeah, well, that makes
I mean,
sense. They'd have a
that's
deli
gross.
somewhere in Cairo. It's huge.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Food looks good.
Yeah,
I'm also hungry, so it looks even better to me.
There's a deli that is not yet opened right down the street from me, really, really close, called New Delhi, where I was like, ooh, we got some like Indian themed sandwich thing going on here. Now it's vegan.
Oh,
I guess would sort of be Indian themed, I guess, on some level, but no, it's like it's not a cool deli, not for me.
is their slogan? We don't have the meats.
It's like it's New Delhi for people who don't
Like
eat
deli.
cheese.
Definitely don't have any meats.
No meat.
We've
if
gave the
it-
meats to Arby's.
There's some vegan
I'll go. I'll
restaurants.
try it. I haven't gone yet, so I'm not going to judge. But I was disappointed. I thought I was going to get like pastrami sandwich, but anyway.
Can't eat those. Can't eat those anymore. I'm at the age. Gotta
That-
watch my diet.
That because it's too salty.
It's too salty. It increase my boost my blood pressure to already unsafe heights.
Those things. Well, that's fair. Well, maybe you should eat at New Delhi. Sounds like the right deli for you.
It's okay.
Well, thank you, folks, for watching. That was not a commentary on the line. It's just time.
All right. See y'all tomorrow. Justin, Robert Young.
Bye.